the sequel. Generally thought of as a safe way for creators to expand the storyline or direction of a particular game, a sequel can give new life to a franchise or put a serious dent in it. While there are plenty of awful sequels out there on all platforms, it isn't uncommon for a sequel to exceed its predecessor in terms of success or critical acclaim, especially today. Just look at Uncharted 2, Assassin's Creed 2, Red Steel 2, and the obvious heavy hitter of the bunch, Modern Warfare 2. So let's take the time to have a look at a system that spawned a lot of successful sequels, the original NES. For this list, we're only going to include games that are a direct sequel to the original, so essentially games with a 2 or 2 in the title. No games with 3 in the title, as that would technically make it a threequel. Fancy, I know. Also, as this is strictly a personal list, by no means do we think the original is entirely inferior to the sequel, or that we dislike it. But, to put it bluntly, if we were stuck playing one of these games for the rest of our days, and we could only choose between the original or its sequel, we would pick the sequel. So with that in mind, let's get started.
Number 5.
Super Mario Bros. 2. We'll get this one out of the way early, as it is possibly the most controversial addition to this list and the black sheep of its series. Nowadays, most people barely even consider the North American release of Super Mario Bros. 2 as the real sequel. However, long before the internet exposed its ugly yet fascinating history, Super Mario Bros. 2 was an awesome successor to the first game. Of course, nowadays, the first and third game in the series take the limelight. But back in the day, there was just a couple of years when Super Mario Bros. 2 was the Mario game of choice for many kids. And for good reason. There were multiple characters to choose from with unique abilities, new baddies, landscapes, and graphics, all of which made this game a lot of fun to play. While we do love and appreciate the first game, the unique and varied gameplay of this unconventional sequel makes Super Mario Bros. 2 the better game.
Number 4.
Ninja Gaiden 2. Ninja Gaiden is notorious for its unforgiving difficulty, and Ninja Gaiden 2: The Dark Sword of Chaos is no exception. However, Tecmo were kind enough to throw in a few tweaks that made the game a bit easier this time around. First and foremost, you can move up and down when climbing walls. This makes controlling your ninja a great deal easier in those "oh crap" situations. Second, you now have Shadow Ninjas. Not only do they obey your every command, but they float in the air and don't take any damage. They can also be used to your advantage during most boss battles. The original Ninja Gaiden is famous for its brilliant use of cutscenes, and Ninja Gaiden 2 followed suit. Seriously, just look at this stuff. For an 8-bit console, not only is the quality of the artwork top-notch, but the design of the characters is just awesome. The controls for Ninja Gaiden 2 are just as superb as the original, and so are the baddies and landscapes. Everything in this game just looks so cool. Ninja Gaiden 2 sticks close to the original, but adds its own touches that definitely flatters the franchise and makes it an excellent sequel.
Number 3.
Double Dragon 2. Despite the lack of co-op in the first Double Dragon game on the NES, it still went on to be highly successful. Combine this with the popularity of the original arcade Smash, and Technos were finally able to flex their financial muscles and put some serious research and development into Double Dragon's sequel for the NES, Double Dragon 2: The Revenge. For the first time on the NES, 2 players controlled 2 Lee brothers simultaneously, and were on the same team. None of that versus baloney. The graphics in this game are top-notch. Technos completely revamped the look of the Lee brothers, and it really paid off. Although their hair colors still perplex me. The music is amazing and truly revives the greatness of the original. As for the gameplay, it has its flaws. There is some very challenging platforming in this game, and it also has some interesting controls for attacking left and right that nobody seems to like. But even that couldn't stop the game from being a favorite on the NES. The new baddies, environments, weapons, and bosses were all a welcome addition to the franchise. I don't think the same can be said for the third game in the series.
Number 2.
Mega Man 2. Somebody out there had to have guessed this one would be on the list. The original Mega Man didn't make a huge impact here in North America. In fact, I have never seen a copy in the flesh. Despite its poor sales, Capcom approved the creation of a sequel, and they're probably very happy they did so. Mega Man 2 made a huge splash and sold really well. In fact, it is still the highest selling title in the Mega Man series, and the 20th highest selling Capcom title, which it totally deserves. Does it have tons of action and creative platforming? Yep. Awesome new baddies and robot masters? Check. Cute Mega Man and his little blue tighties? Absolutely. Oh, and the music. Without a doubt, Mega Man 2 features some of the most memorable and frequently remixed music on the NES, rivaling other heavyweights such as Mario, Zelda, and Contra. Little needs to be said about the gameplay, as I'd be stating the obvious. It's fun yet challenging. The controls are just like the first game, precise. If you fall or do anything stupid, you only have yourself to blame. The Mega Man series would go on to make many other appearances on the NES, but none of them would top the success of Mega Man 2.
Number 1.
Cheetah Men 2. Now, this game is a rare find, and if you want a piece of this awesome sequel, it's going to cost you. Copies of Cheetah Men 2 can go for hundreds of dollars on eBay. If a game is worth this much, it must be the best sequel ever. Nah, this game sucks and was never released for a reason. The number 1 NES sequel is TMNT 2, the arcade game. While the first TMNT game on the NES is somewhat regarded as a classic, it doesn't hold a T to its successor. Much like Double Dragon 2, TMNT 2 finally gave players what they wanted from the original. And what Turtle fans wanted was a fun game with lots of action and characters from the original cartoon. While you're stuck beating up a myriad of unclassifiable creatures in the first TMNT, you get to take down the Foot Clan one at a time in TMNT 2. Isn't it awesome how everything explodes in this game? Not only did the game have more characters from the show, but some of the music is a play on the show's theme, and all of the music sounds turtley. There are other small additions to the game that helped make it an even more exciting game to play. For example, you can get hit by a car, attack a girl on a skateboard, fall down manholes, and ignite randomly placed explosive barrels, just to name a few. Plus, the Foot Clan often make epic entrances. One of the tricks to beating this game is mastering the super move, which is done by really quickly pressing B then A. Then you can take down the members of the Foot with only one hit. Make sure you don't tell your friend though, because you want to make sure that you have the most points so that April O'Neil gives you that kiss. Like every great game, TMNT 2 does have some shortcomings, like this guy, and the constant Pizza Hut advertising. Actually, there isn't that much to complain about in this game. It's a challenge, but you'll have lots of fun making it to the end, especially if you have a second player along for the ride. Well, that's our list. Thanks for watching. Happy gaming! Adds its own touches that most memorable and frequently much like Double Dragon 2, TMNT. Plus, the Foot Clan often make epic entrances. Muscles and put some serious weight.
What kind of sound was that?